What up, people? It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy, I'm Chris the Don One. Story time, story time, story time. This is my continuation of Vlogtober. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get this channel lit in the YouTube algorithm. Got all that stuff out of the way. You know, this is the month for scary movies, scary stories, mystery stories, spine-tingling stories, and things of that nature. Unfortunately, you know, I have really no knowledge of horror movies, but I do have a horror story for you, an original horror story from you when I used to work at your friendly neighborhood Kroger store, all right? So, to make a long story short and make an interesting short story long, let's get into today's video. Okay, so peep this. I got transferred from the front end to grocery, and I've been wanting to go to grocery for quite some time now. Finally got the opportunity to be moved to grocery. I'm excited. I'm on top of the world, and you know, this guy by the name of Kurt was giving me a runaround on the stuff what I probably would have to do in dry grocery. So I'm, you know, he's telling me this, he's telling me that. Now, low key, I was saying to myself privately, if I would be in a grocery, I would like to work frozen. Frozen is a much smaller, condensed department. Plus, I don't have to deal with a lot of people. I don't have to deal with Kurt. I don't have to deal with Samuel. I don't even have to deal with management. Okay, because everyone hates frozen. You know how like everyone hates Chris? Well, everyone hates frozen. Nobody wants to deal with frozen, not for a minute or for an hour, because the constant criticism and complaint about frozen is it's cold, I'm freezing, it's cold, I don't want to be in the cooler, I don't want to be in the refrigerator door, it's cold, you know. So I was saying to myself, that would probably be a better fit for me because I'll be isolated from everybody and I don't have to deal with those people. Now, to give you guys a backstory to the people I didn't want to deal with, there was Kurt. Kurt was a fear monger. Like every time Kurt will communicate with you, it's always something negative. If it's something negative about the corporation, if it's something negative about an individual, it's something negative about an employee, you know, just negative. And, you know, I'm a positive, optimistic guy for what people say I am. So I don't, you know, you're a positive, optimistic guy, and you got this negative Nancy, fear mongler, you know, the vibes are not going to connect. Okay? So, I don't mind dealing with Kurt, but like for certain instances, okay? Plus, Kurt was the shop stewardess. So there in itself, you had to deal with him somehow, some way. And then you have Samuel. I had no problem with Samuel. It's just I had a past experience with Samuel. And I understand how Samuel operates. Samuel is not the best worker. He's not even the hardest worker. He's not even the most dependable worker. But I will give Samuel his flowers. He knew the Kroger language. He knew the ins and outs of the Kroger language. He knew how to massage egos in management. Okay, so he knew the jargon and all that Kroger lingo and language, and you know he knew he knew the book front to back. You know, so, but other than that, Samuel was totally useless. Okay, when he have the power jack, he would always bump into stuff with the power jack or the hand jack, and Samuel was a weakling. Okay, Samuel was a little skinny weakling that, you know, there was like a box of pasta. Instead of Samuel bending over, bending bending over, pause, picking it up and taking it to the pasta department. He literally kicked the pasta box from the back room all the way to the pasta area. That's how lazy Samuel is. But for some strange reason, Samuel is our boss. He's the grocery manager. And he was the grocery manager not by choice, not by force, but no one wanted the position. No one in the store wanted the position. No one outside the store wanted the position, because everyone knew that this position is not a good position. Samuel took the position not because he felt like he can do the position. It's just a simple fact he got kicked out of the front end. So there was this girl by the name of Jasmine was doing a way better job than Samuel, and Samuel was the backup to Darlene. And Darlene saw the potential in Jasmine, made Jasmine her backup, and now Samuel doesn't have a leadership position because he really loved that backup position. Okay. Because they would take pictures of them. They had different people coming in talking about Samuel's not doing this, he's not doing that. So they finally got rid of Samuel off the front end. And there was this store manager by the name of Robert. We called him Big Robert. Big Robert was like this, he's from Canada. He used to be this ex-hockey player. Okay. And Samuel was whining and boo-hooing. He lost his position. So Big Robert said, hey, you know what? Why don't you take the grocery manager position? So essentially they demoted. He's no longer the backup to Darlene. He got his own position. Okay, whatever. All right. So when all this was going on, I was being introduced in Frozen. All right. My first day at Frozen, they had me coming in from 6 in the morning to 2:30. It was a great gig. Don't get it twisted or confused. And the person I would always go talk to is Peter. Now, Peter was the Frozen lead in Frozen. But I heard a lot about Peter when I used to work up front. I heard a whole lot of crazy stories about Peter. But I said to myself, okay, I don't know if these stories are true. I don't know if these stories are false, but he's still my boss. I got to respect him. I'm going to come in there blind-eyed. I'm not even going to worry about what people are saying about him. And these stories were beyond bizarre, okay? So to give some context on Peter is from Maryland, all right? And he used to be married to his wife. And the reason why he's no longer married to his wife, because his wife was cheating on Peter with Peter's brother. I think that's weird and bizarre. But even more weirder than that, Peter goes on vacation, goes to Maryland to these family events, and his wife is still going to these family events. His brother's still going to these family events. And now I'm going like, man, that's an odd situation. You're going to an event and your wife is there and your brother who happened to sleep with your wife is there as well. That's weird, dude. That's spooky weird. And you would think his family would respect him enough to say, hey, look, if Peter's coming, y'all can't be here. But apparently they don't respect Peter too much because Peter, his mother didn't respect him. A lot of people in his family don't respect him, but he always constantly go over there. I just thought that was weird as well. Okay, anywho, so I heard that story, and then another story I heard about Peter is he used to be friends with the night manager, and I forgot his name. I'm just going to use the word. I'm just going to say Kevin. So Kevin would, he's got kids in Texas, and he moved over here. He's the night manager, and he kind of was Peter's friend, but for a different reason. The reason why he was really friends with Peter because Peter would take him home. And Peter would live on one side of the globe, and he would, and the grocery manager would live on the other side of the globe. So Peter would literally waste time, money, and gas taking him to and from work and home. And sometimes Peter would lend him his car, which I thought that was weird itself. Okay, I think it's weird that that you want to take him home, and it's even weirder that you allowing him to use your car. Now, a lot of people at the workplace thought that Peter and Kevin were going together, okay? Because they would spend a lot of time with each other. They would do Dungeon and Dragon tournaments. They would, all this stuff, okay? And everything was going cool, until Kevin was messing around with this girl by the name of Katie. Katie was married. And what made this story even weirder was he was fooling around with Katie, and Katie's husband was okay with it. Apparently, they had an open relationship where he can mess around with somebody and she can mess around with somebody. I just think it's kind of odd you messing with somebody at the workplace, okay? And which I didn't care. I don't care. I ain't none of these people's friends. I just think they weird, but I'm still doing my thing. But it bothered Peter because Kevin would spend more time with Katie than Peter. So Kevin and Peter would have these Dungeons and Dragons tournaments, like I said earlier. When he started messing around with Katie didn't like Peter. So he told Peter he can no longer come to the Dungeon Dragon tournament. And, Peter was kind of upset about it. It's not the fact that Peter wasn't even a Dungeons and Dragons fan. It's just the fact that he wanted to be around Kevin and wanted to do whatever Kevin wanted to do. That's what Peter wanted to do. That's what made that kind of dynamic kind of weird, and why people thought that they may have been missing, doing that. I don't know. Okay, so that's what everyone thought. All right. Anyway, besides those stories, like I said, other than that, Peter was pretty cool. All right. From my recollection, he was pretty cool. So everything's going fine, hunky dory. I'm working. I'm getting my stuff done. My routine schedule was, I was getting things done, and Peter would work overnight, and he would stay all the way up to 9:00 in the morning. So he was getting overtime. So I was asking Peter, like, yo, you work overtime, but you still stay until like 9 or 10 o'clock. But he's not on the clock. He's just hanging out. While we're all working, Peter is in the break room, sleeping in a chair, and will walk around and talk to us like we were neighbors, like everyone was neighbors. Okay, and that irritated management. Like, they was just like telling him, like, yo, bro, you kind of, messing up the flow for the morning people, and you up here talking to everybody. We would rather prefer you to just go home. And then Peter got upset about that. So the store manager, Robert, decided to throw away all the furniture in the break room. So we had no comforter set in there. We had no sofa. We had no love seat in there. And we had these steel chairs. Those chairs that you have in concerts and stuff. And Peter got kind of irritated about it. And he kept asking Robert, the store manager, by the way, is he going to get any more love seats and come? And then, Robert will just give him a song. Yeah, sure. But low key, they threw it all away because of you, Peter, So, that back and forth went on. And Peter was still sleep in those steel chairs, and sometimes he'll sleep in the car. I'm going like, so I would tell Peter, like, yo, Peter, like, won't you just go home, okay? And I understand why Peter was stayed at the workplace, because once he clocks out, there's nobody interested in Peter. There's nowhere for Peter to go to, and Peter was living under his uncle's in his uncle's basement. So Peter was paying like I think he said $500 a month to sleep in a basement. And that explained to me why Peter will always come in sick, will have snot running down his nose, because you're sleeping in a basement, dude, my guy. And it was one time he was sleeping in the garage. Now, the reason why that fell through and now he's in the basement was the uncle's wife would wake him up out of the garage because, because she would have him working, would have him lifting stuff, moving stuff around. So I don't know why she would mess with him that way, but, that's their dynamic, and Peter just took it. He was just taking it. So pause. So yeah, Peter was sleeping in the basement, paying his uncle $500-$600 for a basement. So I'm looking at Peter like, man, Peter, you ever thought about getting your own place? I mean, Peter's been there for like over 20, I say at least 15 years. At least you should be making a lot of money to where you can upgrade your living and live closer to the area, or just live, if you want to live far out, cool. But Peter had a huge problem with money, because Peter would spend money on useless stuff. Like, he would spend hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on lottery tickets. I'm going like, man, why are you buying lottery tickets for? I'm up here trying to make ends meet. Peter's ends are already meet, but and plus with the overtime, even with the overtime, he would cry and complain and talk about he would never have enough money. Well, the reason why you don't never have enough money, because you're always spending your money on these lottery tickets, okay? You the lotto man. You the lotto stud. You the lotto stud, okay? So, I'm working graveyard with Peter. And what I normally do is I come in at 9 p.m. I come in at 9 p.m. I unload the trucks. So I will unload the grocery truck. I will unload the perishable truck, which would have frozen, dairy, and produce. Sometimes I will unload the supply truck, depending on if it comes in early. Sometimes I will unload the milk truck if it comes in too late. So I'm unloading all this stuff. All right. And I'm also loading the salvage. Now, when I'm done with all that, normally I'm done like around 11 o'clock, maybe 12 o'clock. Then now I got to go into frozen. So I'm up here, one day Peter was, saying like, man, this wasn't done, that wasn't done. And I was telling Peter like, yo, man, do you realize that when I come in, I got all these trucks to unload, And Peter just had this look in his face like he didn't really give a fuck, okay? Now, he says he's concerned, but I'm looking at his face, he's not concerned. See, and a lot of Eastern people are like that way. People that's from the East, they all about themselves. They can't see the forest from the trees. They're more concerned about what's going on with their situation. They don't give a fuck about your situation. Okay, long as their situation is taken care of. So I said, yo, Peter, if you help me with the trucks, we can get them done early. And if we get them done early, we can go to frozen. All right? But Peter didn't want to come in early. Peter wanted to come in at 11 so he can stay till 7 or 8 and go talk to people. In other words, he didn't want to deal with the trucks. Okay? That's neither here nor there. So I'm still, so I'm looking at it like, yo, I'm not going to have all of the frozen done. I'll have a certain amount done. But then after that, you got to do the rest. Hey, like I'm thinking to myself, don't you want, you the one who wants the overtime. I don't need the overtime. You want the overtime. So if you are constantly getting overtime, what are you doing? If we get everything done in frozen, then why all of a sudden you need overtime? And I would ask Peter those questions, but then Peter tried to do a walk around, run, whatever. It's BS. He's giving me a BS speech. I know it's full of BS. Okay. So, yeah. So, I'm doing that. Everything's hunky dory, until we get this new team. Now, with this new team, they got rid of Robert, because Robert was fudging the numbers. Every inventory. Robert lasted 2 inventories, and he was fudging the numbers. Okay, just manipulating the numbers to his advantage. They caught wind of that, so they transferred Robert to a store where all the corporate heads consider their offices. So if Robert does fudge the numbers, the people that come in to make sure Robert doing his job, they're like upstairs. So Robert had to be on his best behavior at that store, and he didn't even last that long in that store. He ended up quitting because he's stressed out. He was stressed out at the store I was at. And when, some people, when they get stressed out, they're non-talkative, they're angry all the time. But with Big Robert, when he gets stressed out, he would eat. This man ate a whole roast-tier chicken in his office. He had like a big thing of garlic bread with the garlic dipping sauce. He even ate all that. He's just eating away. Like, I'm up here talking to him about Frozen, and he's not even allowing the food to breathe. He's just you can just hear him going. He's just eating away. I'm going like, what? I mean, you're not even going to stop long enough? Because I don't want to see you eating. You got bones flying all in my, like, hey, you got meat particles all on the floor. Like, you don't want to stop long enough to have this simple conversation, and I can be out. I can be gone, and you can go right back to your eating. Okay, but that's Robert. Okay, so yeah, he got fired because he quit because he got stressed out. So with his new group, they were playing everything by the book. And one of the things was they wanted to cut all the back stock. Now, I was telling Peter, I said, if they limit to where we have no back stock, then there's going to be no need for you to get overtime. I'm telling Peter this. I'm setting Peter, I'm giving the play to people. I'm giving the play to Peter, play by play. So Peter said, no, it'll be plenty of overtime. So once they got rid of the majority of the backstock on grocery, frozen, and dairy, then they started messing with everybody's hours. And then they started cutting their overtime because they're going like, there's no real need for you to get overtime because there's no backstock. Okay, so that happened. When that happened, Peter couldn't get no overtime. All right. Then they started messing with my hours, started cutting, my hours. I was going from 40 to 30 to 20. And I'm going like, wait a minute, what's going on? I'm full time and you're cutting my hours. Okay. So this lady, her name is Lottie. She started cutting hours. All right. Everybody's overtime is being cut except Samuel. Samuel's getting overtime for some strange reason. It's not a strange reason. He's kissing up to the bosses. All right. So they're allowing him to get overtime. Okay. So I was telling Peter, I told you to play. I knew once she came in here, she was going to cut our overstock. She's going to tell us to quit cutting the orders, which that's what we was doing. And she's going to streamline everything to the point where you ain't going to be needing no overtime. So I didn't quit because of that. There was other reasons why I quit. You can go check out that video. I don't want to, make this video any longer. Just go check out that video. It'll explain why I quit. But yeah, I saw the play a mile away. And, like I said, I talked to Peter, outside. I'm no longer working at Kroger. I'm working someplace else. With I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life. I'm cabbage patching in that mud. I'm doing good. I'm doing good in the hood. I'm popping collars and stuff. So I ran into Peter at the laundromat. He's telling me all this stuff. He done got chewed out by the store manager. They done cut his overtime. And I told Peter before I left, I said, hey, Peter, I tried to warn you. I tried to warn you what they was going to do. I saw the play from a distance. Okay, I saw the heifer draw the play out in the sand, told us to break. We all lined up, hut one, hut two. She's looking back. I already knew the assignment. She just told me to do a hook in route and be a decoy. Okay, so I saw the play. Unfortunately, Peter didn't see the play. Okay, but Peter never sees the play. He never sees the play. But anyway, tell me, guys, what you think about this video on Vlogtober. Rate, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get this YouTube channel lit in the YouTube algorithm. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. I saw the play, Peter. I saw the play.